I'm Sheila Hanners, and I want to tell you about my story and my miracle from Firstborn Ministries. About 5 years ago, I started shuffling my feet, got where I couldn't walk. My husband had to put me in a wheelchair to bring me to church, and I was going to the doctors, a neurologist here, which they thought I had Parkinson's, and it wasn't Parkinson's. And then I went on to Madison, and up there they did a spinal tap on me, and that made me do better for a while. I was walking a little bit better, but then it just went back to me not being able to walk. And so I was forgetting things, and just, I didn't know what was wrong with me.
And when I was in the kitchen, I heard her fall in the bathroom, and I ran back in there, and I found her on the floor, and she accused me of trying to kill her. She thought that I was trying to poison her, and so I called 911, and they took her to Swedes, and she was there for 8 hours, and they run every test that they could think of on her during that time. And the doctor came to me later in the afternoon, and he said, we're going to have to send her to Madison or Mayo's. He said, this is way beyond us. The doctors came to me and told me that I had to call my children because they didn't feel that she would make it through the night. Her organs had started shutting down, and they didn't think that she would live through the night. And so I started down to the waiting room. I got better phone reception at the waiting room than I did in her room. And I started down there. My phone rang on the way just before I got to the waiting room, and I answered it, and it was a person, a minister from North Carolina that called, and he said, I need to speak to Dan Hanners. And I said, I'm speaking. And he said, I've got a message from you from God. And I said, I need it. And he said, the doctors are going to tell you that your wife is probably not going to make it through the night. And I said, they just did. And he said, well, the message that I have for you is your wife is very ill. And she's going to be ill for a long time. She's very close to death. But he says she's going to make a full recovery and have a tremendous testimony.
The last Friday, I had to go back to Madison for my yearly checkup. And so we got there, and he checked me and checked my shunt and said everything was fine. He watched me walk, and so anyway, he says, well, Sheila, he says, I'm not going to be able to see you for 2 years. He said, you don't have to come every year now, just every 2 years. And he says, I think you're doing great. So, and I said, well, I have the good Lord to thank for that.
Sheila is now no longer on the heavy medication. She's taken one pill daily for her thyroid. She walks. Her memory's better than mine. She goes anywhere she wants to go. She's living at home and not in a mental institute. And so all the things that the doctor had said that she would never do, she's doing.
This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.